Thank you for joining us. We are here coming to you from Vallejo Vocation in downtown Tacoma. And thank you so much to the leadership of the organization for making its facilities available to us for the content that we're going to be shooting here on Election Day 2024. We thought it appropriate in the middle of all of the energy and, in some cases, very strong controversy about what's happening, that Jumpstart is out in community in an environment where people served are receiving services and having to lead their day-to-day lives amidst an extraordinary amount of struggle. And I'm here today with one of our lead instructors, Candis Hannah. Candis, I asked you to participate in this because you have a journey and a story that is quite inspirational. And while you share that story very frequently in the recovery context and the reentry context, I thought it would be meaningful to talk a little bit about where Jumpstart and our work with crisis de-escalation has had a place in that transformation for you, because it's been a complete delight in these years that we've been together to witness your transformation from someone who was essentially a student and eager to learn, now a force in your own right, impacting a number of sectors in how people are served and doing some very, very innovative things with us. For instance, bringing crisis de-escalation to the reentry domain. I get criticized for saying that word a lot, domain, but it's true. There is a whole domain of reentry centers where people are exiting correctional systems, carceral systems, re-entering community, and you're in there leading an adaptation of our training for people served in those environments so they can navigate the challenges of life that can come with problems for them as they re-enter, experiencing bias, experiencing unfair treatment or conditions, discrimination, and empowering them to have tough conversations with greater skill. So if you would, Candis, talk a little bit about your relationship to the work that we do and how that's impacted your life.
I'd love to, Andy, and thank you so much. Those were very kind words, and I'm very excited about the work that we do. So when I found Jumpstart and the work that you do, it was so interesting because I almost felt like my recovery was like kind of surface level. It was like you're only beginning. And I say this, I promote this a lot now, is, removing the substances is, only half the battle.
Right.
Like then you have to kind of dig deeper into those layers, almost like an onion.
Yeah.
And so what I can equate it to is you're so close to the verge of drowning.
Yeah.
It's you're one tidal wave away from really going under. And that's what the training allowed me to do. When I sat there and did the practices, or when I listened to you speak, it was, when I did the exercises, it was about myself. And I found that so imperative to the transformation of me as a human and what I could do in all of the domains that I helped supported and in the many different roles.
She said domains. How has our relationship had a function in that, if at all? And I'm not trying to draw some kind of special attention to me, but I do think that there's merit in discussing the place that you and I are in, where as an older human, I'm deliberately trying to share with you all of the things that I've learned to carry forward in this work. And the more that mentoring type relationships can be nurtured in this work, the better from my perspective, because it goes to what my dad used to describe. It's like pushing a big rock up a long hill.
Yeah.
How has that impacted your role in what we do?
I think it's huge. not only is it like the beginning, and it was like one of the primary relationships that fostered this big community of network and support,
Right.
but it's also, if you're going back to the example of, hands on a big rock pushing up a hill, if you're not helping or supporting more hands, then somebody's going to slip, and
Yeah.
that rock's not going to be able to be pushed up that hill.
Yeah.
And so in a sense, there's like this kind of connection and community, as like we all work as one, and how can we help support everybody grow? And I really didn't have that until I met you, to be quite honest. I found my own way through recovery, and it didn't lead to a lot of connection or community. And with meeting you, I've found that, and it's been imperative to my growth.
Do you feel like I have been trying to mold you into some image of me, or have you felt supported in being your own unique expression of this work that we do?
It's definitely my own unique way. And what's funny is a lot of people ask me about this, and the only way I could describe it is like you seen something in me before I could see it in myself.
Yep.
And you were never pushy about which way I needed to go.
Yep.
You gave me the room and the space to
Yep.
grow into that on my own.
Yep.
And learn it at my own time. And that's huge.
You are experiencing something that my father is giving you through me, and his message to all of his musical students was, if you sound like someone else, you make them great, you don't become great. So all of his instruction and influence was in the service of creating a musician that stands alone in their own right. And that's the lens through which I see the world with people when I try to pass on this information, because I know that I'm very different. And the way that I do this is my unique way. And if I just went around trying to, let's say, manage that people have to teach the curriculum or express the curriculum in a way that I do it, I'm not doing anything to assist people in experiencing the dignity of their own insight. And what you do is pay wonderful tribute to what you've learned from me and others, while having something that I don't think anybody could mimic. The way that you apply your lived experience to the content of what we do, the way that you engage people with an enthusiasm for them to, and a desire, a passion for them to truly understand and integrate it to their day-to-day life, has been brilliant to witness. When you think about what we're doing in the reentry sector, I won't say domain again. When you think about what we're doing in the reentry sector, what excites you about the future of that?
Oh, letting people grow in their own way. I was just telling a colleague of ours, because it was so interesting in the beginning. It was like, oh, okay, I got voluntold to be here. And then this last Friday, we graduated 6 people, and 3 out of those 6 said, can we keep coming back? And I was like, yeah. They were like, even though we're graduated, can we keep coming back?
Yeah.
And I was like, out of curiosity, what makes you want to continue? They were like, I think that there's more to learn than what we've gotten so far. And that's such a awesome thing to hear. And it really, it sparks this kind of fire inside me, because that's how I felt.
Right.
It was like, this isn't just about the people I can help, the people I can serve. Like, it taught me more about myself, like the deeper that I went into it, and the more that I kept doing the work, and the more times I taught, and the more times that I learned. And it's just really exciting to see.
We've worked in a number of different workforce type environments. We've worked in the commercial sector, in the workplace violence prevention area. We've worked in corrections, prisons in particular, with prison personnel, prison staff. We're in reentry centers with people who are served and trying to reintegrate the community. We've worked with youth and family services staff, mobile crisis staff. What's your way of expressing the value of what we do in all of those sectors?
I think it's invaluable. Like you can't put a price on it. It's that imperative and necessary. I won't, you know, BS about it. It's necessary because a lot of the lens that someone like me will look through is, you don't know me. Who are you to say that you're going to bring these services when you don't know my culture or my history? And we've learned that in different cultures that we've been to and done the work. And there's all these really great programs, but how do you get down to the brass tacks and be able to do that?
Yeah.
And I think that comes with the communication. And so I kind of see it as a sense of like, we're slowly making sure that the planes level out so
Yeah.
that the work can be done.
Yeah. I've observed, no matter where we are, different reactions to, you know, when you disclose that you have a long-standing history with substances, carceral systems, and now you're this comet of enthusiasm and inspiration to others, and teaching and instructing with police officers and correction staff. I've witnessed everyone except in the classroom that your lived experience is adding value, that the way that you leverage the lived experience in how you teach the curriculum, the examples you cite, that it doesn't matter what kind of workforce we're dealing with, they seem to resonate with the way that you present your lived experience. And that's been a tremendous value to the work of our instructor cadre, at least from my perspective, because not everybody has that. And
Yep.
In the healthcare setting, you know, we've been for some years now very appropriately integrating the use of peers and the lived experience context at the treatment team level, which is something that is long overdue. But what we're actually trying to do, in my view, is integrate that at the education level,
Yep.
where we are working with people that have master's degrees, have doctorates, have various national certifications. And what we're trying to do is leverage the power of lived experience in the educational work that we do, so that the student has a completely different appreciation of what precisely this kind of education and training can do for them. And I don't think without the lived experience component, we would be able to do that as well as we do. So for that, your willingness to step into this role, step into this space and do that is, I think, greatly appreciated and going to have long-standing implications.
Absolutely. I think that it also helps support like the hope. You know, we have a lot of great like staff members
Yep.
in all these different fields and domains that really got into it to make a difference. And sometimes when you kind of get cogged down by the wheel, you know, over and over with, you know, all these things or these external forces coming in, you kind of lose sight. And
Yep.
to look at me and be like, really? Are you sure?
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, this is what I dealt with.
Mm-hmm. So if you're a student of verbal craft, or if you're a student of advanced crisis intervention training, known as ACIT, you're sitting here with, or I'm sitting here, but you're observing Candis Hannah, who's on our instructor cadre. She is involved in a number of other nonprofits, managed one of the largest shelters in Thurston County, and has an extraordinary amount of lived experience that she brings to her duties and responsibilities as a trainer in crisis de-escalation. Thank you for taking this time to chat with me a little bit about this. I think it's important for our audience to know more about that and the value of the lived experience perspective.
Thank you, Andy.